Now runs Bitcoin.com, an online platform for storing digital currencies. He joins us on the fast line from a beach. Why a beach? Because he can. Roger is the original crypto baller. Roger, great to have you with us on Fast Money.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. This is Crypto Finance. My name is Daniel Eckerold, aka Crypto Dan. First off, huge thank you to Dobie Forever. I really appreciate you mentioning me in your video yesterday. I went from like 27 subscribers all the way to, I don't even know how many, there's too many to count, over 100. So thank you to everyone who subscribed to my channel. I will do my best to provide valuable and informative information. Let's get started on today's episode. Thank you, Dobie Forever. I really appreciate it. Okay. Today, I want to talk about Biatcoin Cash, and I also want to bring up the argument on the other side. I think it's important to address it and get a view from both angles. So the argument is this. If Biatcoin Cash gets so big that everyone around the world wants to use it, then it'll become too expensive for the average person to run a full node. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't run a full node. But the argument is now you could run a full node on a device worth, a couple $100. I don't actually know. And if it becomes so massive, then you'll have to have a $20,000 ASIC computer to run a full node. Therefore, there will be less nodes around the world, and it'll be easier for governments to locate them and shut them down. And therefore, that's the end of Bitcoin or Biatcoin Cash. So my rebuttal to this would be the goal is not decentralization. The goal is actually censorship resistance. If we want to protect ourselves from government attack and have censorship resistance, then the best way to do that is to get as many people around the world using Biatcoin Cash as a daily form of currency. That's the best way. It becomes extremely difficult to shut something down when everyone around the world is using a cryptocurrency like Biatcoin Cash as currency to purchase their daily goods. So that is number one. Number two, if miners are making money, then more people will get ASIC mining computers. I think that where there's profit, there's people. So I don't believe that will be a problem. And that's the basic fundamental issue that we have. This is on-chain scaling versus off-chain scaling, which basically means on-chain scaling is the scaling solution on the blockchain, which is a larger block size. From 1 megabyte block to 8 megabyte block. It's not very confusing. It's simple. We have a track record of 9 years of knowing that this works, of knowing that this is safe and secure, and we just have a track record to go forward with. And the off-chain scaling solutions, such as segregated witness and Lightning Network, they might work in a few years' time, but it's unproven. It's an experiment at this point, and it is years away. And the adoption won't happen if, the longer we wait, the longer it gives government or whoever wants to shut it down a chance to regulate and get their feet positioned in the right place to crack down on cryptocurrencies outside of government control. Because better believe it, governments are going to create their own cryptocurrencies very soon. We've seen this with Japan is creating a crypto yuan. You've got Monaco, the crypto rupee. These are all coming out and in the works. But we need to get Biatcoin Cash adopted as soon as possible by as many people as possible. So over the last few days, you've seen that Litecoin has had a huge run. They are making their move, and this is the best time for them to make their move. They are seeing the potential and the threats of Bitcoin Cash coming out. However, Bitcoin Cash isn't accessible on Coinbase yet, but Litecoin is. So what better time to make your move when you have very little competition with people who only have access to cryptocurrencies via fiat money. So therefore, there was a little pump. Charlie Lee was on CNBC, and then people became aware of it. It was on the radar. 80% rise. Everyone wants to know what Litecoin is. Headlines all over CNBC. People log into Coinbase. They see it's still cheap in comparison to Ethereum and Bitcoin. So they just buy some. And that creates this huge wave of movement for Litecoin, which is what we saw happen over the last few days. And then Ethereum followed, Dash followed. So I think the reason why Bitcoin Cash hasn't seen that massive, like 80, 100% run up, first of all, it was doing a correction, which we'll talk about in a minute, but also because people don't really know where to purchase Bitcoin Cash from. If you go on, I've got this app on my phone. It's called HODL. Over here, I'll show you. That one there. So I click on that and you open it up and it'll show you with each coin all the news articles and the tweets that people make. And all the tweets related to Bitcoin Cash were, where do I buy Bitcoin Cash? I don't know where to buy Bitcoin Cash. So people want to get involved, especially after they saw the response that the panel had after Roger Ver spoke to them on CNBC, Fast Money. So, you know, there's very good news for Bitcoin Cash. And as we can see, there's a little run up happening right now. We're nearly at 1,600. But I'm going to give a stab at some analysis of this chart. I am more of a fundamental guy, but I actually want to have a stab at this. So if we look at this last run and we do a 5-wave run up, so something like 1, 2, 3, or, okay, wait. Yeah. 4 and 5. Okay. Typically what will follow is an ABC correction. Sometimes you get an extended correction called ABCDE. So we'll go A, B, C, D, E. That's the end of the correction. And then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave beginning after that. As you can see, this is a very bullish correction because it's in like one of these wedges, considered a continuation pattern. So if we do some trend lines here, we can see this wedge forming. All right. Something like that. All right. And I'm actually going to take it from a little bit of a lower point, and I'll explain to you why in a minute. Somewhere around there. If we go onto the, you can see there, the point that I've taken from is where we saw the most resistance on this huge run up. So if I go to the 2-hour, let me just move this. Okay, if I go to the 2-hour and have a look at this run up, you can see the same thing. All that resistance there, that's where I've taken it from. Okay, let's go back to the 1-hour. There we go. All right. I'm going to take this. So these here are like a little bit of overselling happening. Maybe somebody read something or heard some bad news, or I don't know. People, they call those weak hands, but basically people who are just trading, and if it goes down, then they want to sell, instead of people who are holding and waiting out. Okay, now we have this ABCDE correction. As you can see, this bullish formation, which means it's not going continuously down. It's forming this a wedge. Now we can expect a run-up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave run-up. And I'm going to draw a parallel line and take that from that resistance point. And I'm going to do a 1-to-1 measured move from the apex to give a rough estimate of where we will end up. So as you can see, we're looking at about 2,700 and some change. And you could get an extended fifth wave. So let's have a look. We could see also, I'm going to do a resistance line here. Okay, so that's it. And the wave would look something like 1. Actually, let me do it this way. One, two. And the reason I picked that area is because of the resistance there, or support. 3, somewhere around there. 4 and 5. All right. So that's what I'm anticipating, a new all-time high. As you can see, it looks like it's breaking out. And within these 5 waves, you'll see 5 waves. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, and ABC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's where I see Bitcoin Cash going at the moment. I'm very bullish on it, and that's it. Not a technical analyst, guys. This is, like I said, I'm just a resourceful guy who reads stuff, and, you know, I'm extremely resourceful. Let's have a look at this on fork.lol. I'm going to refresh. As you can see, Bitcoin is still about 10% more profitable to mine. They have the majority of the hash power. The fees are still redonkulous, $54.87 per transaction. And yeah, so that's it. Also, I want to show you the coin days with being burnt. So coin days are basically, I explained this in one of my previous videos, when someone holds a coin for a long period of time, 100 days, 500 days, when they sell it or move it, that is burning a day, that or that many days that the coin has been held for and now moved. So as you can see, that was just before the Bitcoin Cash downturn, and there was a big sell-off by probably like BitMEX or GBTC or one of them. So this is a good one to watch, and you can see just Bitcoin or just Bitcoin Cash. And as you can see, there's been some big moves for Bitcoin as well. All right, next I want to talk about Bitcoin Cash versus Litecoin. This is yours.org. They like provide material, and people get paid for reading their blogs. And anyway, they chose Bitcoin Cash over Litecoin. And this is an important thing to talk about because it talks about why merchants would use Bitcoin Cash over using Litecoin. So the reason why they chose Bitcoin Cash were for several reasons, but the primary reason was because they couldn't accept micropayments, very cheap payments under a few dollars, because the fees on Litecoin were actually higher than they were on Bitcoin Cash. The lower the payments, the lower the fees with Bitcoin Cash, but Litecoin, they have relatively low fees, but it's kind of they have a fixed fee at the bottom. So if you're sending like 60 cents, it'll still cost you 50 cents to send. That's one of the reasons. The other reasons, they listed them all here. I won't go through them all, but let's talk about this one. Opening a channel cannot happen instantly. They're referring to a payment channel. You must wait for the funding transactions to confirm before being able to use the channel in order to have a strong security. We worked around this by indicating to the sender that the payment had succeeded, even though it had only just started. In about 50% of the cases, the recipient never received their funds due to being offline. So that's one major problem. And the same goes for closing the channel. Couldn't happen instantly. You must wait for a CSV delay to be able to access your funds after closing a channel. For security reasons, this must be a long time, such as days or weeks, which are painful for users who want to access their funds immediately. We chose to set it at 30 minutes, which was about as low as we could possibly justify from a security point of view, but it was still irritating the users. Users must be online to receive a payment. Users must continuously be online in order to monitor for a broadcasting old commitment transaction. Payment channels can be, so there's various reasons why they chose Bitcoin Cash over Litecoin, because they were using Litecoin and they had all these issues, and then they moved over to Bitcoin Cash. So this is a good article. I'll put a link up to that. Now, with regards to purchasing Bitcoin Cash, here are the exchanges where you can currently purchase Bitcoin Cash. It's on bitcoincash.org, so check that out, which is also bitcoin.com. All right, let's have a look at Twitter. This is my Twitter account. We're going to go through a few tweets. I'm going to put a link up to this episode of Roger Ver on CNBC Fast Money. Excellent interview. And at the end of it, he had the entire panel. They asked, which do you prefer, Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin? The entire panel chose Bitcoin Cash. Fantastic job by Roger on that interview. I'm just going to give it a little heart. All right, now we're going to look at here, Bitcoin debit cards, Bitcoin Cash debit cards, Bitcoin Cash ATMs, Bitcoin Cash commerce. Bitcoin Cash is an enabler. It's just talking about all the positive news that is coming up with Bitcoin Cash. This is Dr. Craig Wright. The competition in today's cryptocurrency space is just practice for the real battles to come. When Bitcoin becomes nearly universally adopted globally, it will be the de facto world reserve currency. That is the time of the real battle to come. So I love how big Dr. Craig Wright and Roger Ver and Jihan are thinking. They're not thinking just another speculative asset. They're thinking universally adopted global currency. So, that's just exciting. It just gives you goosebumps. So this is Nick C. I remember there was a rumor of how Bitcoin Cash was going to take out Bitcoin. There was something about Chinese exchanges will start to use BCH pairings instead of BTC. Look what is happening now. Maybe the rumor is true, but it just got delayed. So he's referring to this rumor. There's all kinds of speculative rumors that happen, and this was about Dragon Slayer. If you haven't heard of it, go check it out. It may or may not be true. I don't know. I just think it's one of those things where the market decides. But what he's referring to is another Chinese exchange, OKX, officially launches full support for BCH trading pairs, exclusively BCH trading pairs. This is fantastic, and this is exactly what we've been talking about all of last week, how the trading pairs aren't just going to be Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that is going to bleed through into whichever coins do get the trading pairs, like Bitcoin Cash is getting right now. This was a funny tweet by Charlie Lee, classic Charlie Lee. This is when Litecoin was having their huge run-up. Okay, sorry to spoil the party, but I need to rein in the excitement a bit. Buying Litecoin is extremely risky. I expect us to have multi-year bear market like the one we just had, where Litecoin dropped 90% in value from $48 to $4. So if you can't handle Litecoin dropping to $20, don't buy. Talk about, creating some fear in your audience. It seems like a little bit of maybe he's having some bad feelings. Maybe they're pumping the coin. I don't know. But he is expecting a multi-year bear market. So this is interesting tweet from Charlie Lee. However, the response, Litecoin just kept going up. Great for them. All right. This is Bitcoin.com where you can get your wallet. Okay. Okay. I think. Oh, this is another one I wanted to tell you about. A great interview with Jimmy Song and Roger Ver. So I will put a link up to it, but I found it on yours.org. It was in this article about all the positive things that are happening for Bitcoin Cash. All right. So that's it. I believe that we are looking very good with regards to Bitcoin Cash. I think that all of this news that's coming about is very positive for us, and we've got some exciting times ahead of us. I believe that the selling from GBTC and BitMEX is nearly over. Once we have that support from Coinbase, things will be looking pretty good. Let's have a quick look at Bitcoin. As we can see, Bitcoin is having a little problem at this all-time high level. And I guess we're just in this indecisive stage where we're waiting for the CME futures to be launched at this date on the 18th. So we should just see a little bit of choppy action until then. And who knows which way it goes. But if you want to see my 3 thoughts on which way we could go, check out one of my videos. I think it's Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash. Thank you again for everyone watching this video. I hope that I provided some valuable information. If you want to comment in the section below. If you want to hear more, hit subscribe, hit like, hit dislike, whatever you want to do. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and I'll speak to you all very soon. See you soon. Bye.
Same question to you. Would you rather today Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin?
I think if I had to make the choice, I own both, but if I had to make the choice, I like Bitcoin Cash because I think the market's bigger. So if you do the math that Roger's talking about, gold, $9 trillion market cap, if that's what Bitcoin wants to get to, fantastic, I'll be happy. But Bitcoin Cash is going after global M1, or the cash market effectively. That's a $100 trillion market, so much bigger market share.
Yeah, I would just add, listen, I'm not an expert on this sort of stuff, but just as a speculator who's kind of been looking at this stuff, obviously Bitcoin has had this amazing run. A lot of the positive sentiment has been focused on Bitcoin. So when you hear someone like him, who was an early evangelist, kind of say this is a $23 billion market cap for Bitcoin Cash, I'd probably go Bitcoin Cash at this point.